Yo, what's up, bitches? We in with an R-rated movie now. Sorry about that. Hey guys, Eli Copperman here with a new film review. This time on the R-rated animated comedy of this summer, Sausage Party, by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Being an R-rated movie, this film is going to be quite controversial, and I think it already has gone to be a quite controversial film, given that it's a recent animated film with an R rating. But with that said, what did I think about this movie? Well, I'll tell you. The best way I can describe this movie is that it's food fight done right. The main concept is that food in a grocery store that think they're gonna be free and out of their place and a great place by the gods only realize that they're really gonna be eaten up by the humans, which they refer to as gods. So now it's up to a bunch of other food to help realize the dark secret and save the grocery store. If this were done in any other movie, it would have been okay. But with this movie, given that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg wrote it, it makes it all the more unique and hilarious. Not to mention, since it's R-rated, it's got plenty of that kind of material to show off. Of course, there's the onslaught amount of curse words they use, but there's also sex references, some rather graphic material like blood and guts, and even a little bit of foul toilet humor. This is what saves the movie from being a rather weakly constructed story to a hilarious feature filled with a lot of material to offer, as well as making the journey all the more fun to go around and see where the different foods go. What even helps more are the hilarious line deliveries given from the cast. These include Seth Rogen, Kristen Wiig, Jonah Hill, Bill Hader, Michael Cera, James Franco, Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, Paul Rudd, Nick Kroll, David Krumholtz, Edward Norton, Salma Hayek, just to name some. They work so well with the roles they're given, and it brings out just so much hilarity. Not to mention, they really give their characters life. Like Seth Rogen being a hot dog, Kristen Wiig being a bun, Salma Hayek being a taco, Edward Norton being a bagel, David Krumholtz being a lavash. The list goes on. Even though I think they dropped way too many curse words, I still liked their performances. Speaking of the characters themselves, some of them are kinda one-dimensional, some are okay, and some are really memorable just due to their roles. Which is most of them, by the way. Like I said, the voice actors do great jobs, and they really do bring their characters to life. But in terms of the characters' names, they're also kinda humorous. Like Frank the Hot Dog, get it? Brenda Bunsen, a bun, Firewater, which is really just a bottle of liquor, Mr. Grits, Honey Mustard, a character whose name is literally Douche, Kareem Abdul-Lavash, Sammy Bagel Jr., Teresa del Taco, etc. As stereotypical and offensive as the roles can be sometimes, they are rather memorable and do help our heroes along the way. Some get killed off in ways that are both comedic and brutal, some have some rather good scenes just due to food comedy, and... Okay, I think I should address this. So remember when I said that this movie is food fight done right? Well, that's because the rules in this movie are much better done than Food Fight. In Food Fight, the rules and logic of how the food icons appear when near the grocery store is ridiculous, makes no sense, and gets butchered in the butt. Sausage Party, on the other hand, does this better. In terms of how the humans see food, they just see them as, average food. Like, they don't know about it, like, just typical food. However, without spoiling too much, you know how many people would joke how cartoons were made by stoners? Well, let's just say that's sort of what happens by how people discover the food in their cartoony forms, and that leads to the climax of the movie. Without spoiling too much, let's just say that the humans and food really don't get along. Oh, and by the way, the climax will also prove to you why I think this is a better done version than Food Fight. Alright, with all that said, let's talk about the visuals. Now, being that this is an R-rated movie, and an animated one at that, it's bound to have a rather low budget, since you gotta appeal to a certain amount of people. And the animation itself actually looks pretty good. At first glance, the rendering may come off as more direct-to-DVD quality, and some of the humans look kind of eh. But what the animators did with the food is actually quite clever. And the best part about the animation is not only the colors, but the animation on the characters. Many of the movements are rather cartoony and exaggerated, and it looks quite good. It's not too exaggeratedly cartoony like, say, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, or Madagascar, or Inside Out, but, well, you know what I mean. Not to mention the lip sync is really impressive, The facial expressions are hilarious, many of their movements feel rather squishy in a good way, and even some of the humans have their rather fast-paced moments. It's been reported that some of the animators suffered some serious working conditions, especially from the film's directors Craig Tiernan and Conrad Vernon. But with that said, I have to give them a lot of props. Even if they didn't like the working experience, I think their work really paid off. Great job, guys. And another thing that really holds this film together is its message, which is no matter how much you have hope for something, it's best that you really think about where the hope lies. Sure, you might not know what it's going to be, but it's best that you don't always have your expectations get the most of you. Always think before you do. Or at least I think that's what the message is. Okay, before I end this video off and give it my final rating, I need to address the white elephant in the room regarding one of this film's controversial topics. Now, being that this movie has an R rating, I'm sure someone expected this, but nonetheless, this film has an orgy near the end. No, I'm not kidding. It has a food orgy near the end. Every single food just having sex and all, especially the hot dogs and the buns. Now, I was able to tolerate this, especially thanks to the good humor and characters that I enjoyed throughout the experience. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm sure some people are going to find this rather disturbing and pretty uncomfortable. Just a heads up. And as for the orgy itself, well, it's R-rated. What the hell did you expect? I don't know what to tell you. So with all that said, overall, I really enjoyed Sausage Party. Sure, it could be offensive and rather gross at times, but with the properly executed concept, well-crafted animation, hilarious humor, and nice characters, I give this an 8.5 out of 10, and I would recommend this to anyone who's in for an R-rated comedy by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, or who really just wants to see a new R-rated animated movie, especially since Ralph Bakshi is no longer doing those worldwide. Just don't see it with your parents. Oh, and if you're under the age of 17, don't even try to sneak into that movie. You'll be making a huge mistake, believe me. Alright, so that'll be it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be making more videos in the future. In fact, next week there's going to be a new review on another animated movie. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think it'll be pleasant to see me seeing a new animated movie with a different animation style. Catch you guys later, and anyone who's over the age of 17 and wants to see this movie, be my guest. Until next time, bye guys. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go pig out on some sausages myself. Seriously man, I'm hungry.